YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and I've got a fun battle for you. This was a 2v2 from the stream that I ran last Tuesday. I'll be trying to play these multiplayer streams every week if I can, just so I can get some battles in with you all. We did 2v2s this week. I'll likely do like maybe some kind of 1v1 challenge to me or mini tournament or something this next week, so keep an eye out for that. Hey, but first, before we start this battle, I have a word from our sponsor. And yes, our sponsor today is you. Yes, you. Did you know that you could support my channel without spending any money? That's right. I need your help. I've got some polls up over on my channel. We've already got quite a few votes on them, so I'm pretty happy about this. I need your feedback on the kind of videos you want to see. So I have 2 polls up. If you go over to my channel on YouTube, you can go to the community tab. You can see the polls. And I need you to vote in these polls and leave some comments to tell me any further details you want to. I need some direction from you all on what you want to see in terms of campaign videos and multiplayer videos on the channel. When these polls are finished, I intend to look at the results, and then we're going to run some tests. So I will put these polls to the test once you vote on it, and we'll see what people like to view more. Anyway, please go give me the feedback so that we can continue this, and I can send the channel in the right direction. Anyway, appreciate you all taking a look at that, and thanks for being today's sponsor. Like I said, when you watched this video, did you know that you were the sponsor? Yeah, I just did that. YouTube can't stop me. All right. They're always telling me to insert ads. So there you go. I inserted an ad where I need your help. So we got Ogre Kingdoms and Beastmen going up against the Warriors of Chaos, led by Prince Sigvald, the utterly magnificent. Did you know that his cape is always clean? It just came from the local Chaos dry cleaners. That's right. He is ready for battle. And he is going to be joined, and this is a hilarious irony, the Prince of Beautiful Capes and Seduction is going to be joined by none other than plague-ridden vermin in the form of Deathmaster Snitch. Now, I'm going to slow things down a minute so we can take a look at the armies and then catch all this battle. So here is the Deathmaster amidst some Eshin triads. All of them have the Weeping Blades, which are a really important feature. Weeping Blades drop armor by 50%. So anytime these units get into a high armor unit is where they get their best potential value. Deathmaster Snitch, of course, is quite good at singling out opponents while remaining hidden. It is pretty dangerous. His army has a Warp Lightning Cannon, which will certainly be a danger to me playing as the Ogres. My teammate is the Beastmen. It depends on the units he brings, and we'll go check those out here momentarily. I think you all saw some of those initially. There's going to be some Clan Rats and Eshin Triads, and then there's some Plague Monks, and Rat Ogre for a little bit of mass, some Night Runners, and then, like I said, the Warp Lightning Cannon, and that mostly comprises the Skaven army. There are some Marauder Horsemen over here and Night Runners for Chaos, some Centaurs deployed by my teammate over here in the woods. You can see another Rat Ogre here interspersed with Prince Sigvald, and let's just go see how magnificent he is. He is magnificent, folks. Aren't you just ready to join Slaanesh every time you look at him? All right, so, whoa, what is this disgrace? Look at this. This is one of his Mirror Guard. Who did that? No, wait, I did that. I shot the Mirror Guard with an Iron Blaster. In any case, we got the Severed Claw Aspiring Champions here. Cool Regiment of Renowned Aspiring Champion that does anti-large work. We've got a Fire Sorcerer here, which is a very nice pick for Chaos, I think. Not perfect against the Ogres, because it's good against their chaff. It's not great against their other stuff, but Fire is, generally speaking, a good pick against low armor, and Ogres don't have a ton of armor, and neither do Beastmen, so I like the pick. We've got some Chaos Warriors here in a second line, and you can see the Beastmen are already right on top of the Warriors of Chaos here. They've got Gore Herds that Vanguard deployed and are immediately getting an engagement. Now, this is an engagement that will be very difficult for them to win without support, so let's take a look at their support. They have Malagor the Dark Omened flying through the air. It looks like yeah, he's got... Did he bring any spells? Just got Arcane Conduit. Yeah, I don't... Well, yeah, here's the spells. Okay, Enfeebling Foe and Savage Dominion, so you can summon a Cygor. There are 3 Ungor Raider hunting parties, and we have the I never can say this. Vorbergland Broodmother Jabberslide. This is the Regiment of Renowned Jabberslide. Is that mouthful? They are really good against infantry. They have a bit of a Mortis effect. That's where they're going to thrive. My army is a front line of Nobblers for a little bit of tar pitting and hit point sponging. I've got a Fire Belly with the Burning Head and the Sword of Ruin, which I feel like should be helpful. I've got a Tyrant leading my army. I've got 4 Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, and then I have 2 Iron Guts. And I've also brought a couple of Mournfang Cavalry. These are not the Great Weapon variant, because I just figured I probably wouldn't need such against Chaos and Skaven, but I brought them for their high mass. Anyway, that's the armies. Let's take a look at the action that's already unfolding. The Warriors of Chaos being heavily pushed, and the Jabberslithe already making its presence felt as it immediately routs these Marauders with terror and allows a breakthrough for the Beastmen. However, there are tougher units behind, like the Severed Claw, which definitely wants a piece of that Broodmother. And then we've also got some Plague Monks who are joining the fray over here. Plague Monks will be very good against the Beastmen now. Also, I wanted to get a piece of Chaos, and I'm trying to basically leave Skaven out of it. I want to help double-team Chaos. Speaking of, I forgot to introduce the Chosen of Khorne with dual weapons, who were the latest recipient of my Iron Blaster. The Iron Blaster got some very nice shots. The Iron Blaster was trading back and forth with the Lightning Cannon. I moved it around some. The Lightning Cannon picked a different target for the time being, leaving my Iron Blaster free to blast this Chosen of Khorne, which was pretty nice for me. Now, Sigvald comes in to support his Warriors of Chaos, and it has been a tough road here. We got Gorbul in here fighting. The Eshin Triads are fighting out, and the Beastmen are going to end up in a tough spot, but this nice Ungor Raider support here, plus the Cygor behind the lines, are now getting a lot of kills here. So although this fight will likely go in favor of Chaos to a degree, it's going to leave them battered and in pretty rough shape. You can see the Broodmother pulling back, and they are bringing in some Ungor Spear Herds to hold. Meanwhile, my engagement hasn't gone, too bad. I was able to catch the Chosen of Khorne here with some Ogre Bulls and Nobblars to combine, and I'm just kind of holding this flank. I'm using Nobblars to hold off the Chaos Marauder Horsemen, and I'm just kind of being patient. I don't want to overextend. I was wanting to kind of win some fights here before we further engage. However, with Chaos pushing into our back lines, it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Wow, the Severed Claw took a point-blank beating from that summoned Cygor. That was brutal. You can see the Iron Blaster trying to pick some targets here as well and do some damage. Malagor's kind of floating around in support. Here comes Gorbul to help support as well. But Chaos is pushing through over here. Now, meanwhile, he's got the Broodmother here, still helping in that fight. The Chaos Warriors are holding out really well over here against the Ogre Bulls and combined Nobblars. I kind of expected them to go a little quicker, and now Skaven are reinforcing them. I used a bit of a Burning Head to cause some damage on the Skaven Skirmishers, but here was the real trick. While I hold the Chaos Infantry, I'm going to use the heavy mass of these Mournfang Cavalry to draw the Skaven in, and I'm going to also see if I can get their cannon on a quick hit. But then when I saw the Eshin Triads and the Plague Monks and everything rolling in, I'm going to lose a lot of armor, and I don't want to stay in that fight for long. There was Rat Ogres on the way, so what I'm going to do is actually fall back, rear charge the Chaos Infantry that was actually doing fairly well, and then I'm going to fall back through the mass of my Iron Guts. And my Iron Guts should be able to hold the line here just fine and allow my cavalry to retreat, while my Tyrant is in here with the Fire Belly helping to work these Chaos Warriors. Meanwhile, some of the units for the Beastmen been able to get back into the fight. I'm having to run away with my Iron Blaster. Fortunately, the Iron Blaster is actually a pretty fast unit for artillery. It's certainly faster than this Chaos Infantry. You can see Sigvald's having a hard time pinning down at the Broodmother, so the Broodmother continues to cause a lot of damage, and Chaos starts to finally crumple here, and it's going to leave the weight of this fight on the shoulders of the Skaven. And the Skaven, honestly, are going to struggle a lot against the Ogres unless they have the right combination of units. Here I managed to get a Burning Head off that really hurt the Plague Monk, but a nice dodge with the Triads there by my Skaven opponent. You can see as soon as the Skaven had to split up and engage my Iron Guts, I brought the cavalry back to smash into their infantry, which is definitely ill-prepared to be fighting Mournfang Cavalry. These giant riders on a Rhinox are extremely difficult for the low leadership, low armor Skaven to take on. Now obviously Crushers would have been much more dangerous here, but their higher cost was something that I couldn't quite fit into the army. I wanted to have a larger force. I'm going to bring these Nobblars back in to hold the Triads, and then I'll make another charge. My Tyrant is continuing to do pretty well over here with the Iron Guts. They've busted through most of this, but there's some chaos that was pressuring our back lines now coming after us. You can see back here that the pressure on my Iron Blaster is, diminishing, so I've still got the Iron Blaster up. However, it's now being targeted by the Warp Lightning Cannon. And I very much need that Warp Lightning Cannon gone. And with Skaven's attention being continually turned towards regrouping units or other stuff, I may get an opportunity. But the Mournfang Cavalry. But for the time being, I'm going to use the Mournfang Cavalry to try and quickly finish off the Severed Claw aspiring champions, though I did see a bombardment headed my way, so I believe that I'm trying to retreat them. They're just very slow to respond here. Not terribly surprising. That was a piercing bolts here that gets called down, so that's going to hurt my Mournfang Cavalry. I believe that was from the Chaos Sorcerer. At the same time, I got a burning head off over here and burned through a whole bunch of these Eshin Triads. And then not much damage, but just a teeny bit there on those Rat Ogres, so I'll take that because those Triads are one of the bigger threats. At the same time all this was happening, Sigvald gooned out my Tyrant, which is pretty impressive because he had the help of Deathmaster Snitch, and they got in there and gooned him out immediately, and the Tyrant is a pretty tough unit. However, when those two left this fight to chase him down, the Broodmother rolled right back through and routed all their units here in the center and then pushed straight on through the Fire Sorcerer, who also terror-ratted, so they gained an opening, but now it's given me an opening, and the Warp Lightning Cannons ended up getting hit by my Iron Guts, who broke through that fight. So now with the Warp Lightning Cannon gone, I've got an uncontested Iron Blaster with quite a lot of ammunition, though to be fair, most of its targets are gone at this point. But this leaves us in a solid position to attempt to finish the fight, so it is looking good for my team because we are essentially getting rid of all of Sigvald's chaff, and then we will deal with him last of all. You see the Iron Blaster getting some shots in there, the Cygor doing some work as well. Malagor was basically just used to summon Cygor, so it won't show any value on him at the end of the fight, but he certainly has been valuable from a support perspective. So what was initially kind of a tough push here, you know, initially we didn't get a lot of breakthrough on that tough, well-armored Chaos line, but ultimately our forces have been able to fight through and make that breakthrough. I don't know what's up with the Beastmen right here. There's like some weird kind of shadowing or coloring going on. I don't know if it's an ability or what. I believe that was Deathmaster using his Whirling Blades ability. You can see him now fighting Gorbull and all these herds, and he ends up getting wrecked over there, and so he's trying to get away from it. There goes the Deathmaster. He is a quick character. A fun Skaven character to play. I feel like the Skaven have a lot of options, and I'm not great at playing them, but I've seen a lot of people do pretty well with them. My Tyrant came back in to go ahead and face Sigvald. Doesn't really matter if he dies at this point. He's got a lot of support, so I'm feeling relatively safe about just taking the engagement. Sigvald routes, and this one was a victory for myself and my teammate. I appreciate their help, and then I appreciate our opponents for putting up a really fun fight too. I like the pick of Sigvald. He's a little more difficult for the Ogres to come in and goon out. And, I mean, sure, you can pick a lord that does anti-large damage like Kolek, and that can certainly be feasible in this fight, but he also becomes a large target for something like the Iron Blaster. So I definitely don't disagree. I like the pick of Lore of Fire. Like I said, anytime you've got a low armor situation, Lore of Fire is a solid way to go. So don't discount it. He did have some expensive infantry. Some of it struggled to get a lot of value, but despite those Iron Blaster shots, still picking up 1066 value out of the Chosen with dual weapons. Not enough to justify them, but it was obviously a pretty nice recovery from having been shot quite a lot by the Iron Blaster. Let's look at the Iron Blaster, by the way. Decent performance here. Nothing amazing, pretty good. The Fire Belly did well. Got a lot of kills. Most of those are Skaven kills, which is why you don't see the higher value, but still a pretty solid performance. The Tyrant did not do well here because he was effectively gooned by Sigvald, who didn't have any more value than that, but I'm guessing Snitch picked up a little. Yeah, not a ton between the two. I'm guessing most of that value was split on my Tyrant. My Iron Guts didn't get a ton of value. Again, they were up against a lot of Skaven and cost-effective Warriors of Chaos. This is a pretty cost-effective tier. Some of my dual weapons, though, I feel like did well. But my Mournfang Cavalry was an important one here. They got decent value. They were still alive at the end of the fight and beating on Sigvald. I needed their mass to throw around against the Skaven. My teammate did very well with the Broodmother here, picking up 2,400 value. It did good with the Cygor here, picking up pretty good value across that. Gorbull doing a pretty nice job. Lots of kills on the Centaurs, and they were still alive. So an effective use of light cavalry there. Nicely done. And then let's take a look at all the rest of the Chaos Army, see where his best value came in. Fire Sorcerer, not a ton, but then again, that's a pretty cheap unit there. Pretty good work on a couple of these Chaos Warriors. Nice work here with this Marauder Horseman picking up 98 kills. I don't know if they were chasing Nobblers or what they were after. Then Deathmaster Snitch, again, not a ton of value, but his Warp Lightning Cannon did excellent. 2,100 value for the Warp Lightning Cannon is quite good. That thing was a threat. I was lucky to be able to survive and get rid of it. But yeah, the rest of his infantry, a few of them doing pretty decently, but none of them having a massive standout performance. it's still a fun match that was fairly close at a couple of points, although I feel like, I say it was fairly close. Whenever Chaos pushed through us, they had an opportunity to come try and finish that off. I think they were just very worried about the fact they were being hit by a Cygor and a Hellblaster, but technically they didn't have the speed to catch him, so I don't know what would have happened, but I wonder what would have happened is rather than chasing those units, those Chaos units just folded over towards the middle and outflanked my Ogres, and if they would have picked up the victory, then it would have been a lot harder for me to pressure their Warp Lightning Cannons, which then, of course, could have dealt with the Cygor and the Iron Blaster, so that may have been the route to go there. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage signing up for now. I'll see you soon with some more action in Total War Warhammer 3.